Welcome. In this video, we're going to talk about how to make the text go around in a circle like this. So we're going to be doing this using SVG. Let's delete this, and we're going to be starting with a new SVG element. All right, so one thing to note here, the SVGs are by default inline in a weird way, so we need to set it to block. And we're going to be setting the margins to auto so that it can be centered. And we're going to be adding a little border so that we can see what we're working with. All right, and the other thing is that by default, we have 500 by 500 dimensions here. We're actually going to be moving them to the view box. So this basically sets our canvas to be 500 units. And the actual size, we're going to be setting it to 500 here so that it can be completely responsive. All right, so the next step is to add a path. So what we're going to be using is the magic happens with this element, text path. So we're going to be first setting a path that goes around in a circle, and then we're going to be adding the text path that refers to that path, and then we're going to be wrapping that in a text so that it can have the text wrapping around the circle. All right, so let's start with the path over here. By default, it puts heart-shaped path over here. That's fine. We don't need that. So all paths starts with a starting point. So we're going to be starting from about here. So we're going to leave about 50 units to the left and 50 units to here. So it's going to be about 400 units in between. And from the Y is going to be from the top. It's just 500 pixels overall. So we're going to need to come to about 250 here. So I'm going to say X is 50, Y is 250. So now we come over here. Okay. The next step is to draw an arc. So the arc is basically like part of the circle. And there are two versions of the same command. We can do absolute arc or relative arc. So in this case, we're going to do relative because it's a little bit easier. So the X has to go all the way to here. So it's going to go by 400. And because the diameter is 400 here, our radius is going to be 200. All right. So this is nice, but it's going in the opposite direction. So we want the text to come from here. So that's why it needs to be on the opposite direction. So we're going to be using sweep for that. Okay. And now we're going to be adding another one, very similar to that. We're going to be adding relative arc. But now this time we're going to be going in the negative direction. Radius is still the same, no difference. And obviously we have to apply the sweep as well. And there you go. So and now we can add end path to make things complete. From a syntactic point. Okay, so now we have a path. So now we need to add a text path to reference that path. Okay, we did that. There's some text, but it's not showing up. Why? Well, because the text path actually needs to be wrapped in a text element. And that's the way that they set it up, the designers of browsers. So we're going to be wrapping this around in a text element. So now we can actually see both. I mean, we kind of see both. So the text element has a text property itself. So we're going to be getting rid of that. And now we're only left with the text path element writing the text. All right. So now it's kind of working, as you can see. The one problem that we see is that it's starting a little bit beyond the origin. So it's because by default it sets the X and Y to 100. And that's useful if you're not using a text path. But in this case we are, so we get rid of that so that it can start from the beginning. And we're going to be increasing the font size a little bit so that it can look a little bit clearer. And also let's update the text itself a little bit to be a little bit longer. All right. So now you can see it is wrapping around. So this is exactly what we wanted. The one problem is obviously this line and also the inner circle fill. So the fill, even if we don't specify anything, it's going to be black. So we actually have to specify it to be explicitly as transparent. And the stroke, we can just get rid of it by not specifying. All right. So now we actually have this SVG element, and it is completely responsive. You can see over here, it grows and shrinks with the SVG element. And yeah, that's about it. That's how you do a circle text. Thank you very much for watching.